This is War Stories, a cybersecurity podcast where we extract the best stories from the field of penetration testing. Your host is Zac Davis, experienced cyber and physical security tester. War Stories is brought to you by Cyber Coffee, engineered and roasted to keep you hacking the planet all day and night. Give it a try at drinkcybercoffee.com and use promo code WAR10 to save 10%. Enjoy the show.
All right, welcome to another episode of War Stories, where we ask a different hacker the same three questions each week. Today, we have a very special guest, Sarah Hume. She is a senior pen tester for Security Risk Advisors. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, happy to have you. So question number one, what's your story? How'd you get where you are today? And what do you do today?
So I always like to claim my birth announcement as my origin story. My parents put out a note to all their friends that said the Hume family software package recently got an upgrade. Sarah Hume now available after 9 months of beta testing.
Wow.
And I like
Is your
that.
dad an engineer? He must be a software engineer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I like to claim that, but I honestly didn't know that existed until like 21. Then that replaced like the classic I'm left-handed fun fact, at any cyber event. But really I was a little bit lost around high school of what I really wanted to do, who I wanted to be. There was nothing that really called out to me, like English in particular or math in particular. And my dad kept really hammering me like, hey, I think that computers might be a nice mix. You have the science and the math, but you also have the creativity. You can kind of do both. And I'm like, cool, but like, I'm not a computer nerd, Dad. That's not what I do. And he was like, go to the cybersecurity summer camp. And if you hate it, I'll never bother you about it again. And I went to South Dakota for a week and
Yeah,
fell
I'm
in
from
love with it.
Minnesota. South Dakota is that's a good spot.
You're from Minnesota?
Yeah, I grew up in Minneapolis or a suburb of Minneapolis. But so, did you go out to like do a Black Hills thing for the summer?
No, this was at Dakota State University.
Or okay,
Yeah, so it was definitely out there and it was awesome. I'll never forget it. So, yeah, after that, I went to school for it, found an internship that led to another one, and I've been at Security Risk Advisors ever since.
very cool. So, what kind of stuff are you doing on a day-to-day basis at SRA?
So I do pen testing. I also specialize in OT/ICS pen testing. Most of my days are purple teams though anymore. I like to call myself the purple queen. No one else calls me that, but maybe now they will. So
Yeah, it's
just
gonna
think
have to
about
catch
that.
on after it gets out there on the
Purple queen, purple
YouTubes.
queen.
Purple Queen. We'll have to put a hashtag in there, Purple Queen.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I regret that immediately. But
Awesome. So question number two, what's your favorite tool?
this is kind of a cop out, but I'm gonna have to say Impacket. I know it's a suite of tools, but I couldn't pick any
Sure.
one. But I feel like you could, if you really wanted to, maybe do a whole pen test with just Impacket. So
You definitely could. Well, I got to put you on the spot now. I mean, what's your favorite Impacket tool?
well, maybe I just associate it with the rush, but like secretsdump,
Sure. Yeah.
there's nothing better than seeing all those hashes come back.
There you go. Yeah. Awesome. So, question number three, what story do you got for us?
All right, so I'm joining the bandwagon of the physical pen test stories.
Sounds
Um,
good. People love those stories.
Yeah, and for some reason, the best stories are the ones where it doesn't work out so good. But did I ruin the ending? But so I'm doing a physical pen test for a company that it was a normal office, those are usually kind of standard for us to do. I had no idea the extent of what I was walking into. These people had the most insane security that I have ever seen for like, even for like high security buildings that I've done, they took it over the top.
So they
Why?
kind of like mantraps and stuff and like tons of cameras and armed guards. And
Yeah, so they like had presence like all around the area. Like they found one of my co-ops asking someone for coffee because they thought it was weird that a young person would ask an elderly person for coffee, and they actually documented it. So like they were looking, they were on the prowl.
wow.
Yeah, they were intense. Protecting at what? I'm not sure. Maybe their cafeteria. Like they didn't have like a bank vault, Um, So at this point, I'm talking to our client point of contact, and I'm like, hey, you guys, you're pretty good. Is there anything, you have me, you have my time. Is there like a social engineering type of path that you want me to try? Maybe not like the usual quid pro quo, but at that point, I felt like that would be the best value for them. And he says, yeah, we're really honestly nice to our new hires. People coming in for a job, like we want them to feel welcome. So we're usually not so strict on the security. You could come in as someone going for a job interview, and then maybe they'll leave you alone for a second. You could sneak off. So I'm like, great. I go, I get a portfolio.
So did you do the whole process and
Oh,
like
yeah.
apply and all
Steamed
that?
the blazer. The sweat made sense in that context, I guess. So I walk in, and I have to check in with my ID. So, it's me. I can't pretend to be somebody else. The security guard walks me over to another lobby where I wait for this interview. Then I do the classic, like, oh, I have to pee. And then I tried to run out the other direction. The security guard came and got me. And then I'm like, oh, I have to take a phone call. The receptionist at that lobby goes and tells the security guard I'm taking a phone call. So,
Jeez,
yeah.
man.
Now I'm sitting in the lobby like, this is nuts. But my brother, you might know him,
I do.
Matt, had taught me always to die with the lie. So I'm like, I guess we're just gonna see how far this thing goes, man. I don't know. And the receptionist is like, "What's your name?" I'm like, Sarah. She's like, who are you supposed to see? I picked a random name off LinkedIn, Megan. And they're like, oh, yeah, Megan's here. Like, let me ask her. And I'm like,
Oh, so you
God.
didn't even have like an interview like lined up. You just showed up and said the. Cause I got
Yes.
confused. I thought you said you went through the whole interview process and got like invited on. You just
Oh.
showed up and said I have an interview,
Yeah.
and they walked you in. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, the whole
That's even
process for
better.
me was
Yeah.
like getting ready,
Yeah,
looking
again,
like,
yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah, no, I was not on any list. And she asked for my name like 3 times. And now I'm like, they're going to kick me out soon. And Megan comes out and she's like, hey, Sarah, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't have you for today. And we would have done a phone call before an interview. And I'm like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. I could have sworn this was on my calendar today. Maybe I got it mixed up. I'm pretending to look through my phone. And she's like, hey, if you want, like, you can look in my office. Like, while you're looking for the email, you can come sit in my office. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Like, how
Let's
does
just see
this
where this
end?
is gonna go. Yeah.
And so then she's like, oh, maybe did you use like a third party company to help you get the interview? And she starts listing them off, which thank God, because I could not name one even now if you asked me to. And she's listing them. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I do work with them. She's like, okay, well, still weird that you wouldn't be on the list. But anyway, did you go to college? And at this point, I'm pivoting. This is my
You don't even
reality
know who
now.
you're talking to, do you? Like where she works in the company or anything like that? Like you just got a random person?
So I did look at like recruiters
Oh,
and
okay.
picked a recruiter's name off LinkedIn. But beyond that, honestly, not a Scooby-Doo clue, anything about this company. And she's like, oh, it looks like you're from like another state. Why do you want to move here? And I just started lying. Like it was crazy. Something came over me. I became a new person. I became a software developer. Me and Megan were just living for like 40 minutes. I lied. All my
Died with the line,
experience
like MB
fake.
does.
Yeah, and then she escorted me out of the building. So good for her. I'm glad that I only had nice things to say about her because I did feel bad about wasting her time. Yeah, so after my 40-minute interview, I did what anyone would do, went back to my hotel room, and I get a DM on LinkedIn. Hey, Sarah, I know the way we met was unconventional, but I loved your experience, and I think you'd be a really good fit here. This is the job that I'm thinking for you. Like, let's talk about your salary.
No way. So she went and found your actual LinkedIn profile and started like offering you a job.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she didn't look at it. Like, I was like, did
She didn't see
did she
security
read
risk
it?
advisors on there, like
Sarah,
this
elite
girl's a
hacker,
hacker.
Hume.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. No, yeah, then she offered me the job, and she was so nice. I never told her. I died with the lie. I was like, hey, let me review this and get back to you. So she did a good job though. She escorted me out of the building. So at least she did good. I could say that.
Man, that's a great story. The fact that, yeah, they just kept going and you got a rapport going with her. I mean, that's half the battle sometimes is getting somebody to, feel comfortable around you. And you obviously did a really good job of that. So,
Yeah, it's a bummer I never snuck into their cafeteria, but
yeah.
it's a great story for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Well, Sarah, thanks for being on. That was a fantastic story. And thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's powered by Better Coffee. And we'll see you for the next one.